I'm just seeing this, so I'm going to report this. The country that is falling apart right now, it doesn't even really have a prime minister in earnest, is signed the extradition order to to extradite Julian Assange to the United States. Let's talk about it. This will be a quick one, but let's have a conversation. Welcome to the Soapbox. My name is Jamarl Thomas. This is indeed the Progressive Soapbox. And we knew this was going to take place, at the very least some form of this. I mean, at this point, this is somewhat of a procedural thing, but Sajid, I may be pronouncing his name wrong, but Sajid Javid has just signed an extradition order to have Julian Assange extradited to the United States. That doesn't mean that this happens overnight. That just means that from the standpoint of the countries that were competing to have Julian Assange extradited, between the Swedish prosecutor, who was essentially set down last week with a judge saying that he's already incarcerated in the UK, you don't necessarily need to have another extradition order on top of it. So that's been put to the side. So he signs it, saying it is now in the hands of the courts. It is up for the court system in the UK to determine whether or not Assange is going to be extradited. But the question of where he's going to be extradited to has been settled. Essentially, the US is going to take priority. It's up to the courts. So we will see what happens. This was called procedural because you knew it was going to take place between one of the countries. So now we need to see what the British courts decide. When George Galloway was on the show, George Galloway made this point that, look, I trust, as politicized as our societies are, I put a little bit more faith in the justice system as opposed to the political system. So we will see. Now, mind, he doesn't necessarily say he trusts them. He just say he has more faith in them as opposed to some of the other edifices within the context of our political space. Let me just read the basics. The Home Secretary, Sajid Javid, has revealed he has signed a request for Julian Assange to be extradited to the United States, where he faces charges of computer hacking. Publisher, mind you. Publisher. Javid, my point is that this is like they're going after him for espionage. It's not computer hacking. They're going after him for espionage. That's amazing. When people say stop watching The Guardian, those people aren't necessarily insane. Javid's decision opens the way for the court, sending the WikiLeaks founder, and they used his documents. God, this is aggravating. Like, this puts all publishers on notice. in the United States. Why do you think that the media space in the United States that hates Trump's guts, that blames Assange to some degree for this, in which case they weren't going to say anything about this case, and they talked about it as, well, the U.S. is going after him for computer hacking and everything else. The moment that this became an issue of espionage for publishing documents, at this point, all of their heads went off. But The Guardian is still reporting this, talk about this in this way. Okay, fair enough. That's not this particular story, so I'm not going to go there. Speaking on the BBC Radio 4 Today program on Thursday, Javid said he's rightly behind bars. There's an extradition request from the United States that is before the courts tomorrow, but yesterday I signed an extradition order and certified it, and that it will be going in front of the courts tomorrow. Javid's decision opened the way for the courts sending WikiLeaks founder to the United States. Assange faces an 18-count indictment issued by the United States Department of Justice that includes charges under the Espionage Act. Okay, finally. He is accused of soliciting the publisher classified information and conspiring to hack government computer. Right here. The ruling of the district court prevented the Swedish prosecutors by applying immediately for the extradition request for Assange to face an allegation of rape dating back to 2010. Assange denies the accusation. Yes, not just denies it, they killed that case at one point. I'm not going to go over all of the backstory. You guys know the backstory. I've been following this since it started. Right here. Thomas Gardner, an extradition lawyer at the Gerson solicitors, said Javid's certification of the request was an important, though merely procedural step to start the extradition process. I would expect the courts to set a preliminary timetable for extradition process tomorrow, he said. It's likely to be many months before any hearing at the magistrate's court. And of course, either side may seek to appeal the decision in due course, meaning what everybody has said up to this point. This is going to go on for a year, if not longer. This may drag on for years. And as I alluded to before I started in my intro, the political situation in the UK is all over the place. You have the situation where Labor tried to literally take control of the government, to put strangleholds of the government to prevent it from pushing through a no-deal Brexit. Right now, you have a prime minister in name only, and you have a government that's essentially without leadership. This government is in chaos. It's in utter shambles. So we have no idea what is going to take place in this. I'm also unclear. The question is, there are a few questions. Is Julian Assange, meaning if the government falls apart, and if Labor takes power, and Jeremy Corbyn decides he doesn't want to ship him to the United States, does the process stop? Is the process really purely and entirely in the hands of the court system? Or if there was a political body that was in Britain that was not in favor of extraditing him to the United States, does that process stop? I think that is a fascinating question that I do not have the answer to. But either way, this is a news front. I follow what's taking place with Assange. So just wanted to keep you guys abreast of what's going on so far. The extradition order for Assange has been signed. I'll leave this here. I have a bunch of shows today, so I'm going to end this here, and I'll see you guys momentarily. Thanks all. Bye-bye. Oh, by the way, if you guys enjoy what you guys find on this channel, please consider supporting this channel through PayPal or Patreon. Definitely like, definitely share. All of those are good, but also if you love it, you find yourself come back here often, please consider supporting. They are going after these channels, which is why I insist. So I'll leave this here. Thanks all.